Hello ladies and G's, time to get a deep dive into the new Force of Low Warbond equipped in Helldivers 2. Been grinding max difficulty to give you the real deal on each piece of gear, no fluff, just raw battlefield testing. I'll also provide some tactical advice on how I found those weapons to be performing the best, so let's jump in. Quick premise though, I have spent a reasonable amount of time with each weapon in Super Helldive runs, both solo and in a team, and the results are mixed, as stun and shock damage seems to vary in relation to the team composition, much like the old railgun damage bug we had in the past. But nonetheless, I will try to be fair in judging the performance and utility. Okay, so first on the list, there's the Pacifier Assault Rifle, as you can see. Let's get a very brief look at the statistics. 50 damage, which is pitiful. It's ridiculous. 40 capacity, 11 recoil and 700 fire rate. Well, honestly, you just compare it to the Liberator Penetrator and you will quickly notice there's nothing that stands out. The Lib Pen can outdamage this thing in every situation. The stun effect, well, it's good on paper, don't get me wrong, even the medium penetration is decent, but the stun effect lasts a so tiny fraction that you barely feel it. And the worst problem is that you cannot customize the magazine. I was very hyped to get a 60 bullet magazine, but yeah, no dice. You should rush it to level 19 to get the 2x red dot, which is the best scope in the game, no doubts on that. Also, yeah, the recoil is manageable, the fire rate is decent at least, and as I said in the premise, in multiplayer this performs much better, probably because it applies stun multiple times, so you happen to stun enemies much easier than in single player. I don't know, it's probably a code synchronization problem, I don't know about that, but that's it. On the bright side, well, on the bright side, this, as I said, the ergonomics is decent. It's quite snappy, in my opinion. The fire rate is decent, and the recoil, well, it's very manageable, as I already said. What can you do? Well, as I already said, rush to level 19 to get the 2x red dot, which is the best scope in the game. You should pair this weapon with a high damage support weapon like the HMG, the MR, the autocannon, and so on. For example, one of the best usages of this weapon is to break the heavy Devastator's shield stance, and as soon as you stun it, switch to your support weapon to get the kill, very easy and no sweaty. Also, thanks to this dot, to this 2x red dot, you can of course fight at longer ranges, and yeah, stunning enemies at long ranges grants you the chance to, for example, pop Alpha Commander's ads very easily, to get the Overseer's ads very easily. So, well, beyond that, it's a solid mid-range tool, but yeah, nothing game-changing. I hope that they are fixing the stun or the damage or both in one of the next patches. That would be awesome for this gun. Yeah, now the elephant in the room, the GL52 De-escalator, which is basically, yeah, a grenade launcher designed for crowd control and stun, but it fires high-powered arc grenades, as you can see. And yeah, in case you have you're asking, they forgot to add the example video like all the other stratagems. Here you have just a plain black screen, so they forgot that. Anyways, keep in mind here you will feel the absolute most difference between team and solo play, especially when you want to take on heavy targets like, for example, Hulks, Bile Titans, Chargers, tanks, you know, harvesters and such. To my understanding, 8 to 10 arcs come out of the stun ball. So the stun ball gives the stun effect and the arcs deal damage. But yeah, here the arc mechanics are very weird. It makes it viable for more than just pure CC, but especially if you're in team play, you can mold down almost everything. Keep a look at, for example, the Bile Titan's knees shot techniques. So you can simply, in solo, you get like 2 entire mags, which is 12 grenades. While in team play, well, I think 1 entire magazine plus a single grenade just can get the work done very easily. Against automatons as well, it's definitely worth using. It can down Hulks very easily, and again, there's a difference between solo and team play, but usually you should aim for the, of course, for the visor, you know. And if you can nail the visor, it's very low amount of grenades. I cannot say for sure, but it should be 3 grenades, 2 to 3 grenades on team play, and just double the number on solo play. I mean, yeah, there are some weird arc mechanics, so you might get the kill in less grenades or more, but yeah. Even the same problem happens on turrets and tanks as well, so it's pretty inconsistent for the aforementioned reasons, you know. Luminance seems to resist its effects a little bit more, but I guess it's for their multi-plated armor. So it's a little bit less desirable in those matchups, but don't get me wrong, it still packs a punch, and yeah, you can still stun the overseers, for example, or kill them just on the spot. Again, the solo versus team play differences apply as well. Anyways, overall, it's decent, don't get me wrong, but again, it's not game-changing, and yeah, the reload takes a pair of days. So keep that in mind. Reloading is very, very long. There should be at least a speed up, or they should fix the timing of the reloading, because every time you reload, basically it empties the entire chamber, and I don't know why, and then it starts to apply the new grenades. Even if there are just a single grenade missing, it just empties the entire the entire cartridge, you know. Anyways, as I said, it's decent, but not game-changing at all. Okay, now the time for the P92 Warrant pistol. Well, it seems to be the best item in this Warbond, even if I know it's not from the Warbond itself, but from the Superstore. For 300 credits, you can bring home a lock-on guided burst pistol with 80 damage, 13 capacity, 31 recoil, and 450 fire rate. So, in combat, it feels good. The jet-assisted projectiles can penetrate and damage enemies in line, so provided they have low armor, of course. So, if they have an armor of 2 or below. Lock-on is optional, by the way, so your target should be around 70 meters max if you want to lock on. If not, you can simply deactivate the lock and fire normally. It's very useful for firing above destroyable obstacles, like for example cars, you know. Against terminus, well, it can easily destroy the small ones, but beware, it will miss a lot against the shriekers if you don't lead your shots a bit to favor the trajectory, you know. A bug can make it penetrate every armor for the moment, but I guess they'll patch it soon, so I'm not gonna talk about that. But yeah, you can actually damage, for example, Bio-Titans, Chargers, and such. I don't think it's intended. Against automatons, yeah, it's strong in city maps due to the heavy small soldiers' presence and multi-penetration properties, and it's very useful if you don't see shit. You know, if the fog is very thick, this thing can still lock on. Against the Luminance, it can be a powerful tool against Overseers, but be careful to lead your shots again, or you'll miss the jetpack guys. All in all, well, I really like this pistol, but I don't think it can outperform, for example, you know, the Ultimatum, the Senator, the Verdicts, and the Talon's firepower. Still, I think it has a lot of potential if they want to expand on this gun. Also, I don't understand, since this is, you know, very inspired by the Judge Dredd franchise, why not give this pistol the programmable ammo like in the movies, the explosive, the you know, the penetrating one, the burst one. You can simply just switch to which type of projectile you want for the situation. Well, I was expecting that, I am not gonna deny that, but yeah, it is what it is. Now for the K9 drone. Yes, they actually added the Liberator drone footage as an example instead of the K9 drone, but yeah, it is the Arc Thrower one, it's not the Liberator one. Anyways, the K9 is simply a rover equipped with an Arc Thrower, as we said, so on paper it seems interesting, and when it finally decides to work properly, I mean, it's quite strong, because it deals like 250 damage or 300 damage with a very high penetration. I am not sure if in this case the solo versus team play rules apply as well, but I have noticed that in team play the fire rate increases, by not very much, but a little bit, yeah, it's increased. So it also seems to have a fetish for flying shriekers more than anything, so keep in mind that if there are shriekers nearby, it will prioritize those, missing most of the time, and I don't know why. The range feels a little bit limited and the charge time is quite long. We are talking about 5 to 6 seconds per shot in solo play, and in team play it seems to be a little bit faster. It can be helpful in close quarters against automatons, especially behind cover. It's surprisingly strong, I might say. On terminates, well, I find it the most useful when you are retreating. Basically, when you go back, when you fall back to reload, for example, your grenade launcher, reloading, or you don't have steams, or you're simply getting overwhelmed, yeah, during your fall back, this drone will get a ton of kills. As I said, not especially great against Illuminates, but it can still pack a very big punch. I cannot deny the fun of using, for example, all shock-based builds with like Arc Thrower, Arc Rover, Teslas, and shock-resistant armor. So it should be fun, but I hope they at least increase either the range or either the fire rate of this thing. I mean, yeah, it can be up there in the performance section. Ah, the Uchirin grenade, really, the stun termite. Well, honestly, yeah, I don't see much utility above the standard stun grenade. If you really want to use it, I guess, well, you can, and harvesters and flesh mobs are your main targets alongside chargers. This thing can attach to those guys and stun those for a lot of time. You can also, for example, create a small area of denial against a breach that blocks everything except Bio Titans by launching this thing on the ground, because it will still emit stun pulses on the ground. Of course, I made the bad mistake of trying this thing against the walkers, you know, and yeah, it did not end well. Honestly, I hope this thing can be buffed to stun every enemy in the game. You know, for example, uh, the titans, you know, the walkers of the automatons and such. I guess it's a fair trade, you know. A stun termite like this, which requires a little bit of precision, I think it's fair that it can at least stun bigger enemies. But for the moment, no, it's simply a no for me. There is no way, no situation that this thing can be brought over the classic termites. Even the pyrotech, which, yeah, lately has become very good due to the penetration 5 spinning animation, you know. But yeah, termites and gas grenades, those two, well, cannot be outperformed right now. Also, let's get a final look at the armors. There is the Correct Officer 1, which is a medium one. Aesthetically, they all look very good. I like those. And as for the passive, it's an interesting one at least. It provides a 25% resistance damage to the chest, 25% resistance to explosive damage, and prevents all bleeding. This is the medium one, which is very good. There is also the light one, which is the... where is it? The jack... yeah, this one, the jackboot. Very lovely. And there is another one on the Superstore that I cannot show you because they have changed the rotation, which is an heavy variant. Anyways, as for the performance, I think that right now, if you want to bring those armors against enemies that can shoot back, for example, automatons or illuminates, they usually lock on to your body, and the headshots and the leg shots and such are the result of their spread. So this is decent, don't get me wrong, but if you really want to bring an armor against those guys, those ranged guys, the unflinching ones like the Inspector and the medium ones, where is, yeah, this one, the Top Killer and such, those are for now stronger in my opinion, because it provides an all around 125 armor. So it reduces your headshot damage, because as soon as you cross the 100 armor threshold, you have reduced headshot. And you have the unflinching, which has been a little bit buffed. So, you know, when you aim in first person, you're not gonna get flinched by normal shots. And it also has the scout ping. So yeah, you can still bring those ones because aesthetically they look very good, and I am using those only for the aesthetics. But keep in mind that there are better armors on the list, you know. Anyways, that's it for today. Thanks for staying with me. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments if you have found other ways of using the Force of Law equipment, you know, other exploits or other ways to make those equipment shine in Battlefield. And yeah, I'm out. Peace.